Welcome to the Berks Homes podcast, the business of building homes. I'm Katie. I'm here with my brother Ben, and today we are talking about mindset.
Why do you want to talk about mindset?
Well, today's episode is going to be a short and sweet episode because I am going on vacation. My version of vacation is staycation, so I can get my mind straight.
Yes. Yeah.
I take a week every year.
Yeah, and what do you do? You have like a very specific set of things that involves mostly doing nothing, but it's specific.
No, it's doing a lot and then nothing every day.
Right.
So it's resetting our home, resetting our outside, whatever projects we need to accomplish to feel set up to be able to enjoy the summer.
Right.
Get that accomplished and then just walk around outside and eat whatever we want the whole week.
Go on like little day dates and stuff.
Because the kids are in school.
Right.
And we get to be in our home uninterrupted. For 5 days straight. I love it.
And you've been doing this for a while.
Yes. I talk about this all the time, but Brian Entrican, who works here, was the one who introduced me to this concept because he started doing it when his kids, went to school. And I was like, that is the smartest thing I've ever heard. It's so perfect. I love it.
I know.
So,
do you ever get bored?
No. I don't know if I could be bored ever a day in my life.
Right.
Because there's so many things that I want to do.
Right.
I mean, I don't sit around.
No, I know. I not bored. I meant like, do you ever get sucked in to work?
That is the hardest part of not letting myself kind of plug back in and to stay disconnected. Yeah, that's difficult.
Yeah.
I've already almost said, well, I mean, I'm not doing anything. I can come in or I can join that meeting, and I have not.
Right.
I have not said yes to doing anything next week, which is a miracle because I don't know if I've ever done that.
Yeah.
Even on other staycations.
And you don't typically broadcast that you're staying.
Yeah.
So, whoops.
This will come out while I'm gone.
Yeah. So the end result of the week is what we're going to talk a little bit about today.
Yeah. The reason I wanted to talk a little bit about mindset is I take time like this because I need to kind of clear my head, take a break, get your mind set straight. I did a post about this on LinkedIn when we were on vacation in Florida over Christmas. It's just such a good reminder, like what a difference it makes to give yourself that break and clear your head. And I think having your mindset correct, walking into every situation is life hack. And that's kind of why we wanted to talk about it.
So what are some of those examples that you can think of when you say mindset? Is it like when you wake up in the morning? Is it attending a meeting? What is it?
I think it's kind of having that vision of what you want your lens to be when you're going into every situation and just kind of preparing yourself to have a good perspective whether it's interacting with a coworker, a customer, a partner, whatever the circumstances, to just make sure that, and again, this goes back to our guiding principles, core values, checking your ego.
Yeah.
You actually listening, truly actually comprehend somebody else's perspective so that you're getting what you're supposed to out of it and not just forcing or shoving your own agenda.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a long-winded answer to say it depends on the situation.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like what we talked about a couple times with the STI profiling thing, where we use that as a tool in preparation or in advance of communicating with specific people.
Yes.
Or
the user guide that you were talking about.
And that I'm gonna go talk to this person, and this is just how they like to get communicated with, or this is how they receive things well.
Yeah.
It's almost like planning, right?
That's exactly what it is. And using, the brain is a very powerful tool.
Yeah.
And I love stories of, like professional athletes or Olympians and things. They practice picturing their body move in a certain way or performance or anything like that. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
You picture yourself having the correct energy and attitude in every situation so you don't get railroaded or you don't railroad someone else.
Right. The visualization.
That's the word.
Yep. Visualizing the end result.
It's also funny that you brought up the SDI. We had our all-day quarterly check-in meeting with my team today, which is also why this is a short episode, because You're am
running on E.
Woo! But we went over our team's SDIs.
Yeah.
The whole picture of the whole team and the overdone strengths and strengths of the team, and now everybody gets to bring back the individuals to the larger group, and it was really interesting conversation to see. We've got 13, 15 people on this diagram, and our arrows all turn down to blue and green in conflict. There's one person who's going in a different direction out of everyone.
Wow.
So that really plays into the dynamic of that group. So if we're getting pushed, everybody's running for facts.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like thinking about everybody else.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, they're not defending the results
as
much.
So it's just an interesting exercise. If you have that information, you know if something's maybe putting pressure on someone else, that maybe I need something from someone. You know, and they don't have it, and it's stressful, or they'll feel in conflict. Maybe give them a minute to gather their information and be able to present it, and be patient and open to what their feedback is, because that's where their headspace is. Mm-hmm. It's just.
But I go back to the word planning. Mm-hmm. You know, thinking about it ahead of time, like visualizing the result is, for me, it's a big deal. In terms of the success of an interaction or a meeting.
Right? Yeah, meeting's a great one to talk about.
Well, you know, for me, the struggle that I will always have is sitting still for an extended period of time, talking about a specific process or topic, you know?
Yes.
Like beating one thing up over and over, where there's value in that in any organization. Mm-hmm. At a certain point where you have to get something done. And the only way to do it is to care about the details. However, I'm always going to struggle with that. And especially like our weekly L10s, you know, sometimes I go in there with just the wrong mindset and attitude. And it's like, what did you think was going to happen?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Like your ideas are going to fall flat if you're not excited about them, and if you don't want to be an advocate, and you're just there going through the motions. But I already told myself that story going into it, so that's the result that's going to happen. Nobody's going to wake you up out of, you know, nowhere and say, welcome to the conversation, Ben. Thank you for your input, when you're sitting there like, you know, grumpy.
Exactly.
That's just not how it is in the real world, in the professional world. You have to be on your A game. And if you want to be grumpy, go be grumpy in your office beforehand and lock it up.
And check your attitude.
Yeah. And get your mind straight. And some of it's about being respectful of others' time.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like, this is a commitment, even if it's just me and you sitting together going over something, or me, you, and 10 other people. I need to set the example of, this is valuable time. And I respect that everybody's busy. And so we're going to get the most out of this.
Yeah.
So business, you know, game time.
And having the mindset that even if my contribution is to make sure that nothing's missed, and if everything's covered, I didn't contribute anything at all. That's okay. It was a good use of time, because we're certain that the goal was accomplished.
Right.
And it could just be that you have to get caught up to speed, go through all the painful details of a whole meeting to contribute 1 second of information, but it's necessary.
Yeah.
It might be the thing, that the answer that moves the whole thing ahead. So you just have to lock in.
And you know what's interesting, and this is why I think for me, we always score or rate a meeting.
Yeah.
You know, 1 through 10. And what I noticed over time, I just never really understood it. You know, it's like, okay, good, bad, indifferent. It's over, right? But looking back, I always thought, oh, you know what? my perception of the rating of the meeting was vastly different than somebody else's sometimes. You know, somebody's like 10.
Right.
That was great. And I'm like, that was the most painful thing I've ever gone through.
Right.
But who am I to take that away from that valuable time for that person?
Right. We don't have to knock them down for the enthusiasm that they're having for something that they got out of it just because our attitude wasn't checked or mindset wasn't right.
They got the result they needed to move forward, and I was a piece of it.
Exactly.
Great. 10. You know?
If it's 10 for you, it's a 10 for me because we got somewhere.
Right. So that's changed my mindset a little bit, which is it's not just about the time that I'm spending individually in this session with somebody else.
Yeah.
It's about the collective and making sure that, you know, I'm never giving less than 100%. And I like that idea of preparing, like when we do our quarterly meetings with the facilitator, and it's like, what is it going to take to get to 10?
The beauty of that question is you're in charge of making it a 10. You're in control.
Yeah.
What do you need out of this meeting that you get a 10, and it's up to you to bring that to the meeting.
Yeah.
Nobody, like you said, nobody's going to do it for you.
Right.
It's you have to have the mindset going in. These are my expectations, and this is how I will meet those expectations.
Right. And I just keep saying that word planning in my head, where it's not something that I enjoy doing. However, every time I'm prepared well for anything, it always exceeds my expectations.
Absolutely, yes.
You know, and so even if it is just sitting down in a yoga pose 5 minutes before a meeting and be like, let me get through this. If that's what it takes, then it's valuable, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of that phrase, defining success. You know, whatever you're doing, like just define it at the end. So if it's a meeting, what is it? If we are successful in this meeting, it means X. And if that's it, then great.
We win, yeah.
So if you are clear about what you're trying to get into and you point that conversation, interaction to that end result, then generally you're going to get there.
Yeah.
But if you don't have it if it's just like a time for thoughts, you're always going to be disappointed.
Well, that actually rolls into the other piece of mindset is there's only so much that you can plan for, but there's always surprises during the day. And that's the other part of mindset is to drop your assumptions in the moment. Don't make assumptions about people's motivations, attitudes, and things like that.
Yeah.
That's getting your mindset right about change, about conflict, about working with other people, is you being open. You know, you being willing to take the time to understand someone else's perspective, asking questions to get to the why behind doing something differently, all of that stuff. So it's not just planning for a schedule that we have, but planning for your attitude when you're surprised.
Something's dropped in your lap.
Right. Or even not being defensive if someone asks you a question or something. People generally, especially here, are not out to get each other.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's a daily assumption. I mean, sometimes we have to teach that.
That's kind of why we're talking about it.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're new to the organization, that's something that there's people that have struggled with that, where they don't know that pretty much everybody is just, you know, out to help you, not get you.
Yeah. So a question is truly curiosity, not an accusation.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10.
Right.
You know? And if it is an accusation, again, that's a mindset opportunity of how you respond.
Yeah. How do you think, compare yourself to Katie 5 years ago?
I was afraid you would ask
in
me
terms
that.
of jumping to conclusions.
I've had quite an evolution.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Well, I have as well. And you're just kind of like, what's the worst thing that can come out of this, and it's usually not that bad.
The worst thing is you say, you know what, you're right. I'm sorry. I can do better.
Right. Yeah.
Admit it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
First
that's
of all,
easy.
Who cares if, thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
Because I didn't recognize that it was messing something up or you needed something else or,
You're going to get a lot of apologies.
Yeah.
Coming out of this room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, that was something that was very difficult for me to learn because I wanted to be right 100% of the time and not have anyone ever question what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is really the worst way to get places.
Or fix it right away.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Got it. Without truly understanding what somebody needs because I just wanted to fix it and move on.
Yeah. You start digging into the details right away. You're like, well, maybe we could do this. And you're just like, well, let's not try to solve it right now. Like, why are you asking this?
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. And I find myself just asking a lot more questions than spitting back like facts and answers.
Yeah.
Because generally, even though somebody might get what they wanted in the moment, really didn't help them long term.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm. And there's growth opportunities for both parties.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, maybe you want to help somebody learn how to navigate that situation on their own. Where they don't need to ask somebody else a question.
Yeah.
So that takes a little longer because it's a whole conversation.
Yeah.
And saying, hey, did you ever think about doing this? And then walking them through that.
Yeah.
Like problem solving, on a small scale, or it's a learning opportunity for you to help them understand something more.
Yeah. And that's the point too, is like if someone is reacting defensively to you, how do you get, instead of meeting them up at that level, or, how do you kind of dissolve that conflict and just like, it's okay, we're all good.
I'm the wrong person to ask. I'm usually, you're probably right. I don't know.
Yeah, let me look into it.
I probably did screw that up. I don't get very defensive often. But I can see where mindset has a lot to do with, turning possibly like one bad day into a bad week.
Yes,
or
exactly.
I've had expectations mentally prior to a day or a week that I met those low expectations, and I think it was only because of my attitude.
Yeah.
Alternatively, I've been in situations, and I know you have too, where you're like, I just put a smile on my face and I was like, I am here locked in to contribute on a level that anybody needs me to. And that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And then you come out of it and you're like, wow, I enjoyed that.
What, if you would have thought about it previously, what a terrible day to spend. But if you walk into it expecting the most out of yourself, it's fine.
Right.
You can change. It's your choice.
Right.
This is something, and I ask Mom, our mother or my son, both generations, I'm saying the same thing too. You have a choice here.
Yes.
Life is not happening at you. So you get to decide how you experience it. So you can walk into the room and make it a good time.
Right. Make it a great day. I think one of the things that obvious across the organization, and it is because of Dad, because of his example in that, and we've talked about it before, is saying you are in control of your interactions, your good, bad, and different day. You can impact that on any level, even on the days where you're like, I'm going to a conference that I was signed up for that didn't really feel like it.
Right.
Okay, that wasn't maybe your choice, but now you have a choice.
What do you do with that
There's
time?
always a choice at every level. It might not be a big choice, but make the small choice be productive or helpful or optimistic, and then that can impact the bigger choices.
Those small ones in the moment are the ones that make the whole experience.
Yes.
There's always two paths that you can go down.
Right.
Right. And it is the choice that you make to do something productive and positive with it, and this is the other thing that one of my professors in college said, not to decide is to decide.
Oh, yeah.
So if you don't make the choice for bringing your best or having the right mindset, you've already decided for it to not be.
Yeah. Yeah. Then it will happen at you.
It will happen at you.
Yeah. And the result will be absolutely out of your control.
Yes. So why not own it?
Yeah. Maybe it's just about being a little more controlling. Kind of seems like the opposite of what we're saying, but
it's control of yourself.
Control of the impact that you can have on things.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's dialing it back, right? Sometimes it is just saying my role is to listen more.
Yeah, this isn't about me today.
Yeah. My role is to be as helpful as I can be. What did you learn today in your all-day meeting?
Oh, so many great things. We have all of our rocks set, which we talked about last time.
Yeah.
Not smart yet.
Well, yeah, you got to beat them up a little bit.
Exactly. But the main idea, which is great, and just kind of tying together all of the tools that we're really using, the accountability chart and roles with the scorecard, with setting kind of performance review expectations that we want to roll out eventually. It's kind of all tying together so that people on our team have a really clear picture of what success is.
Yeah.
We define success today on a lot of levels.
Yeah.
If that's I would say is the number one takeaway, which I love.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really good. What success looks like in 90 days, right?
Yep.
And then probably
and further
another year, and then 3 years, and this is how we're gonna get there.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed my time last week with my team. It's so good to just get together and without outside influence. Because you have that on a weekly basis, but there's just not time to breathe on really important things that you're not going to be interrupted. You don't have to rush to another meeting.
Yeah.
All you have to do is go talk on a podcast, But it's Friday afternoon, so
it's all good.
No rush. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up.
I know this. We said it's going to be a quick one today.
Yeah.
Let's see. You have your challenge ready?
Yes, I do. So my challenge this week is something, it's kind of with mindset, which is ironic because I was thinking of it before we talked about that.
Oh, okay.
It's looking for a situation where you can have your mind changed.
Yeah.
So it's just, we all want to have the answers. Like I said, like be quick to answer and I got the solutions and everything. But maybe next week you look for others' perspectives or just blindly listen to an alternative perspective and just do that instead, even if you think it's the wrong thing.
Try it out.
Yeah. More or less just be open, right? So even though you might be inclined to speak right away when somebody asks you a question, I got the answer. Maybe all that is just pitching it back to them saying, what do you think we should do? And then using their suggestion. Yeah. And typically this is like in one of those interactions, most likely if it's somebody going to their leader, if you're a leader in the organization, maybe you just calmly ask questions and say, I really want you to come up with the solution and I will follow your recommendation no matter what. Yeah. What's the worst that can happen? Yeah, exactly. Right? It's just actively listening, maybe. Yeah. It was a long-winded way of saying actively listen. Who's your MVP?
MVP, well, tying it into mindset, I'm going to give a huge shout out to the Zen master of Joe Roslin.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
If you want to talk about someone who's going to actively listen, who's going to look at everything from every angle, trying to get the win across the board for the company, for the person he's trying to help, for, the team.
Everything.
For everything. His attitude and mindset is just, that's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't leave a conversation with Joe and be like, oh boy, that was a bummer. You're always just like happy.
Yes, I've never walked away feeling anything but better than when I walked into his office.
Amazing.
And not only that, but, he is just consistently for 20 years put out a visual brand of our entire
all our stuff,
guiding principles, and we just pulled off the company meeting. He's just got a lot going on, a lot of good things.
Right.
So
always
much
great
growth.
Work. Always great work.
Great technical work, great cultural work, and again, that mindset is huge.
20 years. Oh yeah, it was 2004. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's
this
unbelievable.
Is his 20th year. Yeah.
Oh wow. Congrats, Joe.
That's right.
All right.
I think that's it.
That's it.
Wrap it up.
Have a good week. We will be back when Katie's back.
Nice.
All right.